Let me show you guys the brand new Spiritborn build in Season 9. This is one of the coolest builds ever. It's a Poison Thorns build, but you can play pretty much anything. What you really want to stack is as much attack speed as possible. Remember that this game has 2 categories in terms of attack speed. I know it says we have 103. However, when I crit or when I go ahead and use like an ability, we will get really close. If I crit, we get an additional 30% with accelerating, and we're at 198. That's actually pretty important. And the reason why is we are using a mechanic of double Jaguar with combination of Loyalty's Mantle, which makes the bonus of the brand new build to get more of these ramp ups with our Poison Thorns and the Jaguar every 15 attacks. We want to hit as many times as possible whenever we deal direct damage. Now, interesting enough, most of these interactions will count as direct damage to the enemy, including the brand new powers. So how the build works is mainly focusing in on Thorns. So every single time we attack, we get to do up to 300% of our damage as Thorns, and then it also deals it as poison damage to the enemy. And if we do crit, we can use Noxious Resonance and get an even bigger number on this. And then on top of that, each time we retaliated with Thorns for 5 seconds, the poison damage gets increased and goes up to 300x. So let me go and show you guys in gameplay how this actually looks. Obviously, you can hit for crazy amounts of damage. Oh, we got the little Jewel Guardians spawning. So we'll eliminate the Jewel Guardians, and we will continue. So basically, how the build plays is very similar to how you've always played Spiritborn. I've actually made this build way more beginner-friendly, and the reason why is you don't have plus Vortex. I've opted to make it so we don't even have to play any barriers, and we just get pretty much max. You can see over here, there will be some small little downtimes in between packs, but as long as you're activating your power, you can see it's at 13,000, and it's pretty much max. So pretty much you can hold down your Quill Volley, and you're just spamming your Hunter ability. So the Hunter is utilized to get a lot of bonuses, gives you a lot of like crazy damage. And it's been pretty much the best thing that Spiritborn has had for a really long time, and it is no different this season. It's still kind of the star player. And if you've been a fan of the Spiritborn, it is still really good this season if you like the Quill Volley. Now, to be honest, you could actually play any skill, which is really awesome. But right now, I have the Temper on my weapon for the skill Quill Volley to cast twice, because again, you're just trying to attack as many times as possible. You could consider running the Gorilla Fist, as there's like a little overlap, but anything that is attacking, you want to basically stack up those stacks as quickly as possible for the Jaguar Haul bonus of every 15 hits. That's kind of where you get your big damage boosts, and I will upload a build guide for this, as I want to say that this one will probably remain similar in playstyle. Like, they may nerf the damage numbers, but if they nerf it too hard, then it'll be just a no fun zone. But it's been a while since we've seen Thorns, and one thing that I really like with specifically this build is the very fast interactions. And we'll talk a little bit more about some other theory craftings, maybe some bugs that are going on still with the build. More likely, though, it's the double dipping that's making this really good. If they do change it, I mean, I would still say this build can be cut in half, and it's still crazy good. When you look at the other crazy damage numbers that are available in Season 9, most of it, to be fair, is going to be nerfed. Like, for example, the Barbarian Infinite Damage. I fully expect that one to be nerfed. But we'll go do... we can go do this little room over here as well if we want to. The build is very great, because one thing that I like with this build, it does not require Mythics. Starless Skies right here is okay, but it's not something that is required for the build to function. In fact, we're actually playing Razor Plate. I didn't even make this like super min-max. Let's see if we can get... okay, so these will grant us extra points, and we'll see how many points we can get. We get Lord of the Mummies, Pillars, Tether, and then we get 8. Let's go ahead and almost just do more damage. I like this one over here because we get 8 per, and our whole goal is to get like this number as high as possible, and then maybe we can get a Butcher to spawn in. But I want to show you guys how fast it can farm the new content, as this is the new Nightmare Dungeon Escalations that are supposed to be harder, and while we have all these mods here, to be honest, it's really not that big of a deal. This build has always been relatively good, and one thing I like with this is it's really easy to gear up. I don't have like insane gear. The only thing that you would really need to get for the build to get up and running is this item, as that it will apply a pretty big amount of thorns. I've also actually looked at a lot of other variants of this build, and interestingly enough, stacking dodge will give you more damage, and it'll give you survivability. So there's kind of like double dipping, like you would in like attribute stacking if you played PoE. The reason why is dodge will give you additional thorns, and it is quite hard to get 100% dodge in the game. But if you do want to try to push for higher, survivability, you also get more damage, which is something that you don't get with a lot of builds in games. So I like that, and I like that you don't need mythics to get the build up and running. Again, there are certain builds in the game where you need certain items to make the build function, but I would say you could probably do T4 with relative ease if you just get the pants. The helmet will obviously be relatively easy to get to. It's just that you need the pants, and it almost reminds me of Necromancer if you played the Blood Wave build, where pretty much you get the pants and then your build is like godly, right? Whereas this build, you definitely want the helmet, but the main thing is you just get the pants and the build starts to feel really good really fast. And you can see we can get 2,000. We have some extra time here, but it also depends on the mods that you get to get the 4,000. 4,000 is kind of where I would say is the cap currently for these strong rooms, but again, I just want to show you guys how easy it is and like how very little effort is required for the build. But I want to go ahead and go in and talk a little bit about some of the things for this build. We can actually just kill the boss here and then we'll finish it off. I'll just wait for the timer to go down. But you see, once the boss comes in, it takes a second because you have to hit for those amounts of damage, and then once the little circle comes out, it's GG's. And we can go get our rewards, and then, oh, there's the Plains Power. Okay, so let me explain some of the things with the build. It's pretty hard, to be honest, to play it without Plains Power because the number scales way harder than anything, especially when you can get, like, the effectiveness on it. So, let's go and talk a little bit about the build. I will drop a build guide soon, but I'm just showing you guys this early video of the Spiritborn and kind of confirm that this is one of the best builds in the next season. I'm not even talking about best for the Spiritborn builds. I'm talking about best classes next season, as there is some double dipping currently with the rank 1 Hydra build. So for starters, again, you want a good loyalties mantle because it will give you cooldown reduction. But the thing that's cool is when the Spirit Hall matches, you have 100% more potency on this bonus. So this is, again, your big damage is coming from the Jaguar activating, and again, it activates off of itself, which I don't know if they're going to nerf. But like I said, I still think the build is really good without it. So I've been playing and trying to get as much attack speed as possible. I'm 2% off of perfect. So if I get a GA attack speed, we're good to go. I didn't opt to get like the best in slot for every single piece of gear, but I think that you would probably want to get Bastion. So let me go and actually show you guys where that is. So Bastion is what gives you the Thorns damage, and then while you have a barrier, your Thorns are increased by 20x. So again, the number that increases is the flat Thorns. You also get 50 Thorns per 1% dodge up to 300. So again, this is a Thorns build, so you want Razor Plate, and I don't even have a good Razor Plate. Like, imagine I had a quad GA Razor Plate. Oh, you know what? All these numbers don't work in town. By the way, if you're wondering what my actual Thorns is, it's like 10,000 something last time I measured it. But I want to say you get about 15,000 if you min-max pretty hard. It comes down to getting a godly rolled Razor Plate. And then what I think is interesting is there is a mod, I haven't measured this, but it has a special, like, Thorns has a chance to deal up to 200% increased damage. I'm showing you guys the gameplay of a low rolled Thorns. Imagine with a 200%. Ideally, you get 4 GAs on it, and then it's 200, and then you're dealing good, big damage, which is pretty cool. And then you can run the Cax rune, which will give you 100x increased damage, so the damage starts getting crazy. Again, when you have Jaguar getting this double, it gets really insane. Like I said, this isn't necessarily a build guide because I still want to do some more testing on it. There's this really weird interaction that has existed since Spiritborn launch. Now, I'm gonna let Blizzard know about this. I don't know if this is visual, but you can see Convergence says that we get bonus damage of our physical, fire, lightning, poison, all the bonuses combined up to 30x. Now it says current bonus 0. I've actually tried equipping a weapon that had like just any amount of damage, and it doesn't seem to work. Non-physical damage is technically, like, if you see by damage with fire, lightning, cold, we have even extra poison damage here, right? But for some reason, this still says 0. I want to say that this is more likely a visual bug, as this one had some bugs before. I don't know if it's returned, but apparently non-physical damage does not register with this, even though it should. But even when I equipped items that gave me flat fire, or lightning damage, this still showed up as 0. So again, just so I can kind of warn you guys about a bug. But just going over other things, if you want to build this to consider, Hubris actually has this bonus, and I'm going to also give Blizzard feedback as a partner. This number doesn't really get shown, but the number is, I believe, at least from my calculation, it is 50 thorns per 1% dodge. So if you get 100% dodge, well, you just times that by 50 per. So that is the number that you're looking at. Because again, our whole build is a thorns build, but it's also poison. So you can get things like, I think Canny, do I have it over here? So Canny works off of, again, non-physical, but it's just kind of an early showcase and early show of what you can do with the build. Like I said, I'll drop a build guide for this one. But one thing that's cool is you can play anything, but the reason why we play Quill is because it shoots out and it comes back. So if you are playing any skill, what I think is really cool with this build, by the way, guys, is how it works is it's each attack. So ideally you just run whatever can attack the most. Oh, I also want to save you guys some time. Thrash does not register every single small attack, so there's something that you can do. I think it's with Seperate attack, where it always counts the third attack, right? So you can technically just run this, and it's always going to continue. This, it looks like it hits the target like 20, 30 times. It doesn't register each one of those as its own individual attack. Otherwise, this thing would be the best with it. It should work, but because it says each, what is it? Each attack damage, that counts as one attack the whole time. But with Quill, I mean, I don't know, even though it's like one attack, the thing should be registering. It seems like it depends on the skill, and honestly with Diablo, a lot of the stuff is just like it's kind of whack-a-mole with what they end up patching. Like something new comes out and it's OP. I've opted to play an automatic version of Vortex in the runes. You could run it though, it's not that bad. I'm lazy and I like playing things where it automatically activates. There's another source of damage I couldn't fit in because I wanted this, because this gives us 10% dodge just based off of its passive, and at rank 5 we get an additional 5, so we get an extra 250 thorns if I slam extra 4 points in here. You can also run the Vex rune, that's another option, but there's another source of bonus damage that you can get if you want to, which is Scourge. So you can get each time you hit an enemy with Scourge, you can get increased damage versus crowd controlled. So if you apply a slow or any sort of debuff, which you can do with the brand new powers, if you're wondering what powers I'm running, I have to play specifically 2 denials to get one of the bonuses. Like I said, I didn't really want to make this a build guide. We're kind of talking about it. This is how I'm getting max barrier without having to run the Druid rune. Like in almost every single build, you'll see the Druid rune. I run Vortex here, so I don't have to push it because I'm lazy. But also, you actually have an extra free rune slot that I've noticed, because normally with the Spiritborn, you have to play the Vicious Shield, because, well, why wouldn't you? You just get for each with 1x for every 30, so it's like at 33x damage basically with this. So you would want to run a shield at all points. So before you would run Bulwark, the Druid one, right? But like now you don't have to, because this gives you 50% automatically, and then you roll Barrier Generation and you get a couple in your Paragons, and this will be good to go. You can also get Vortex Size, that's another option, but your main thing that you want to get is the Transfer Quill Volley to activate 2 times, but yeah, I'll drop more info on this one soon, but this is just kind of a brief introduction showing you guys what Spiritborn can do, and I believe the highest pit push right now is 117, and that is pretty dang strong. But anyways, yeah, that is the Spiritborn for Season 9, but let me know, guys, what you think of it. If there's any ways to improve on it, let me know, and I'll update it before I drop the build guide, which will be out very soon, so that way we can kind of check out what is fun with the build. But yeah, like I said, you don't have to have any of the mythics to get this build running. This does give you a decent multiplier, but you can run Conceited, and that's 30, and then just get attack speed crit, and then you still have like your even higher Mystic Circle potency, which is actually pretty good too. But anyways, yeah, that is Spiritborn in Season 9.